Hey everybody, welcome back to the Spinner Rack. I'm here with my boys Petey and Cal. Today we're going to be talking about the controversy continues with Ray Fisher. You know, what the goony goo goo is still going on here. Has DC done the investigation? Has it concluded? You know, what is Ray Fisher asking for? So I'm going to bot this over to my boys. Cal, bow, give us a little breakdown on this whole thing and let's go for it from there.
Ray Fisher. Oh, okay. Oh, before I go into anything, okay. So, Ray Fisher was casted as Cyborg. I believe he developed a very good working relationship with Zack Snyder. And unfortunately, when it came time to do Justice League, Zack Snyder, for reasons that we all know, or well, for family reasons, let me say, wasn't able to complete the film, and Josh Whedon was brought on. Ray Fisher did not have a very good relationship with Josh Whedon on set, and he has gone public with his complaints regarding that and has asked for certain investigations and for consequences, repercussions, if you will. So that's pretty much the backstory on it. That being said, I just don't understand Ray Fisher. I would think that after he's done all of this, who in God's green earth is going to want to work with this guy on a film? The amount of whining of what is really what it comes out to be, under the pretext that he's fighting, you know, for good treatment or something of that nature in the field that he's at, I just find it to be laughable.
What's your take on that, Petey?
It's hard to say because ultimately on set, there's going to be a lot of tense moments. So he said he has more information to bring out. If he had a case and he has more information, he should be bringing it out instead of trickling it out to allow like people to say, well, we don't believe you. And then next, well, I have this other thing. And then you say, well, I don't believe what you said about Jeff Johns. Well, I got this other thing. And then he goes to the president, oh, I got this other thing. And it's like, I've always just state your case as complete as possible, get it out there if it's a case or not. Now, if it's about saying, I don't like the treatment, like the director was an a-hole, I mean, it's hard to say because, the sets are tense environments and a lot is on the director's head to be mindful of. And that's the thing that when they're not sort of hitting, and there's people that don't have chemistry. Like they say, everyone, when you see people at the award shows, they don't like each other. They're sitting at those tables and they've had breakups and they don't like each other. But once they get up for the awards, they're all cheering and this, that, and the other. And then some point later, they work together again. And it might be easier the second time. But the way things work is that it's a tense environment. And if you're not giving the thing the director wants, he might sort of give you a stern talking to. It might be yelling. It might be, a-hole behavior. That said, I don't know exactly what it was, but I know he was having this bad issue. He had issue with how Judge Johns was saying he should handle it. And then he also had a problem with the president, where it's like, ultimately, he, the people listened to what he had to say. So this last thing of needing who was the person that the president is the president of
It's Walter Hamada.
Now it's like wanting him to be gone too, and then him bowing out of not wanting to be involved in any of these Warner Brother projects. It's kind of I don't know. It's taking a stand, but it's like, now it's over. Do we have to listen to any of this anymore? Does he have to state his case? He's moved on. He said had a grievance with them. It should be over with. We're not going to see him any more DC films outside of the Snyder Cut. And they have to figure, Cyborg will morph into something else after this. But, I mean, he's taken the strongest stand we've seen so far outside of Rose McGowan, who has been on the other side of not working at all. But this is someone who has a job and he's complaining about the people at the job. So
I don't mean to cut you off, Petey, but
okay.
he does have the guy who played Aquaman. What's his name again? He seems
Josh Whedon he had issues with what he agreed with what he said, right, or something like that.
He agreed with or he backed Ray Fisher. We hadn't heard all the allegations other than Whedon being a pain in the butt on set. So, and he treated people badly. And it seems that DC did an investigation. They concluded it using and they said that there were remedial actions done. And we can only assume that one of the remedial actions is that Whedon, who was going to have a show coming out, I think it's on HBO Max, Nevers, is not going through with that again anywhere. So it looks as though Whedon has definitely been removed. In terms of Jeff Johns is still there. I mean, he has many different properties that he's working on, such as the Stargirl Flash, the Stargirl show on CW, the Flashpoint movie, which I think he may either be writing or being executive producer on that, as well as the Green Lantern series, which he wrote in the comics, and he may be the executive producer and probably writer of that also. In terms of Walter Hamada is an exec, and he's just been renewed his contract for another, 2 more years? He's there till 2023. So it seems that, and it's just recently happened. So it seems that after all this thing with Ray Fisher, it seems that the key players or some of the players that he thought should also be penalized are not going anywhere. So Ray unfortunately has one of two options. Either he stays or he continues to see if he could influence change in the organization that he's in right now. And again, I don't know the nature of what exactly Whedon, probably other than being a pain in the butt, what he did. We do know from what I've heard, well, what we've heard is that his role was considerably reduced from what was originally going to be planned in the Snyder Cut. So, don't know for sure. I don't know if we can compare his issue with the Rose McGowan one. I think they're different, and we should probably keep them those different ways. Now, in terms of Whedon, there's been a lot of allegations over the years over different things. Specifically, with Carissa Carpenter said something about him, and other people have said about the way he's acted on set and stuff like that. So we don't have to go into those allegations. We'll just specifically.
Why did you bring it up?
You just brought it up. How can you say we're not going to go into it? And you brought it up.
We didn't go into it. We just.
Yes, you did. You can't try that backhand stuff over there. The bottom line was the stuff that these other people brought up. These allegations aren't allegations. It's just how they felt about situations. Okay, somebody doesn't like how the situation was. That's not an allegation. Okay? Even the thing with Ray Fisher just really boils down to a situation. They didn't say it wasn't criminal, wasn't illegal, wasn't even necessarily anything with the workplace. The bottom line was, more than likely, they probably went to Whedon and said, look, you're working on this. Okay, we're going to take you off this. We're going to keep your name as producer. Still going to get paid for it at the end of the day. We just want to try to diffuse this. And he'll go off. He'll cool his jets for a bit, and he'll be fine. Will Ray Fisher be fine after all of this dust he's kicking up?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing there. Ray Fisher, we're not seeing the Cyborg movie. We're not hearing much about that. We're not hearing much about the fact whether or not he's going to be in Flashpoint or anything else. So I don't know. Unfortunately, he may be getting some negative blowback or consequences regarding this. I hope not. Put him in Aquaman or whatever.
Do what?
There's also the issue that when we were looking at the Justice League, we were not expecting Cyborg to be the character that they were going to choose. We were expecting a Green Lantern that they were going to do. That was my thought.
Ray Fisher is not. I just don't think he might. I don't know if he understands how this works. If he looked at the DC universe, the where they were having the streaming service, he might have saw a show called Doom Patrol, and on Doom Patrol there was a character called Cyborg. So they're not married to him with Cyborg. They can easily say, look, we can just let this character go, and that's the end of it. And then, I mean, this is some really basic stuff. You went on set, you didn't have a good time with this guy over here, and you decided you're going to pursue it in this manner. Okay, great. You did that. Now, you defended yourself, but the way that you went about it, who's going to want to work with you later on? And I'm not saying don't defend yourself, but the whole I'm going to come over here, use the bully, and I do mean bully, pulpit of Twitter. I'm going to come over here and cast this stuff out. I'm even going to say stuff about people that's not necessarily factual, at the end of the day, because I'm souped up on my own poo like it doesn't stink. And now where are you going to be at the end of the day? Okay, just look, you have another show with the same character as you, buddy, and it's not Superman, it's Cyborg. They don't necessarily need you for this at the end of the day. And The other thing I also noted is I don't know how many credits Ray Fisher has before he got on screen. I think he was doing something on stage. So the bottom line might have been that, hey, he just wasn't up to snuff for what Joss Whedon wanted. That could have been that, and that's where the tempers flared. He could have thought that Joss Whedon was being unfair. Okay, Joss Whedon could have thought that his acting wasn't up to par, and they weren't able to work that out. But hey, you're supposed to be able to move from that. Try to keep the whole thing as viable as possible, so you can still have work for yourself down the pike. Okay, you can still defend yourself, and I think even the stuff with Jeff Johns, where he was coming and telling them, "Look, you're doing all this stuff. This may not necessarily be the right way to do it." He was like, "Oh, you're trying to keep my rates down too. So I'm coming after I'm going to come after you." I'm like, well, okay, you mess with the director and you mess with one of the top writers that they've got there. Who's going to come over here and vouch for you when it's time for a role? And your name is now associated with doing what? Being a firebrand. Okay. And I think there's a big difference between defending yourself, okay, and making yourself something that, no, you're just making it too hot. You're making it too hot. I don't want anything to do with you.
Well, I also put it to the thing of, say, the same way, I guess, with like Monique is going around, and then she has a talk with Whoopi Goldberg, and then next thing you know, she's not just talking about Oprah and was that Lee Daniels. Now she's talking about Whoopi Goldberg, like she's the part of the problem. When they're just having, it was just a random conversation they had. So it's like he's having a random conversation with Jeff Johns as far as opinion, not saying, if you do this, you're fired. Because they didn't give it. He's still holding out exactly what it was, saying, hey, he kind of steered me like, this is the director. Like, how are you going to be complaining about this stuff when it's his vision? Sometimes it felt like it was like that. So I just say, ultimately, you can't take everything and then decide, well, then now the president, he didn't do enough. And it's like, what did he didn't step up and do something now. It's just like, you made your grievance. I don't know. I mean, you already had this movie. It just seemed like it's going to be a solo movie. They're running all this energy into it, and who knows what this thing will be. But ultimately, it is, as Mars was saying, was that ultimately they're trying to do what the Super Friends did, which throw in Cyborg when he's a Teen Titan. So then Jim Lee, when they did the New 52, they threw in Cyborg again into the Justice League. So then when they do the movie, hey, we need a black guy. We're not ready for Green Lantern. Green Lantern is kind of iffy, so let's put in Cyborg again. But we can connect him to the mother box. We can do some cool stuff with the mother box, and he's something out of the mother box. But no, now we're not doing anything with Darkseid. Oh, now we're doing more stuff with Darkseid again. So it's like, I don't know. It's a hot potato sort of movie thing for DC, but it's as a person in the film, I didn't see him as the necessarily a problem in Justice League, but it's just like saying, does he just want off of it? Is that what it is? To see like he wants a big enough dust up where they're not gonna throw out everybody, unless he has some other information where he said he's propositioned by all these people. And next thing you know, then they can get rid of them. So I don't know what else to say about it. I'm done. I'm done with it. I'm spent, as Austin Powers says.
Yeah. I mean, anything else you want to say, Cal, before we wrap this up? I give a summary of our points of view.
Don't be a bitch. Man up. Hey, I just don't understand. Did we grow up with like a totally different generation where we understood, look, you're gonna get some hits, you're gonna get some wins, you're gonna get some losses. But the best thing is, at the end of the day, where you stand, everybody seems to want to, this right over here is the battle of my lifetime. Over this? No. This could have been handled differently and more effectively than what he's doing at the end of the day. So it's him, it's whoever his agent is, but I also think he got sucked into this whole, well, I'm going to take it to the streets, nonsense on Twitter. And then at the end of the day, what happens when, Twitter's not hiring you?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Same thing with what's this guy? Oh man, I can barely remember his name now. He was taking a knee.
Colin Kaepernick?
Yeah, with Kaepernick. You know, everybody was like, yeah, well, hire Colin Kaepernick. We should hire Colin Kaepernick. Did they hire him? Did they hire him? Okay, you've got to be ready. Look, when you go out and do this type of stuff, if the bottom line is what you want to do is play ball or act, what are you going to do to facilitate that? If not, then hey, by all means, go ahead and do what you're going to do. But I just felt like it just sounds like he's being whiny and bitchy at the end of the day.
I don't know if I can necessarily agree with those points. I mean,
You don't have to.
we don't know what other allegations and stuff that he's bringing up. So I mean,
That's the problem. When is he
Yeah.
going to move on with that? If they either
I mean, he may be under
say it or don't say it.
but you're
They
right.
can afford or don't.
Either you stay or you go. So I kind of agree with that. That we don't know what's going on. But in terms of so I'm not saying he what he's saying is wrong. I'm not saying what he's saying is right. Right now, what we've heard with the investigation, with the information we have, that's it going forward. And that I agree with you there. But in terms of you know, we can't go any further than that right now. You know, I was hoping this stuff would get resolved and Ray Fisher will feel comfortable with what happened, but it hasn't happened. So, you know, right now we're at another crossroads, and it's going to be tough for him to stay in a spot where you have the guy who he accused of is still going to be the boss. You know, Walter Hamada and Jeff Johns. So the very fact that we may not see him, I mean, when they put a new Cyborg character in Doom Patrol, I was like, what the hell does this mean? You know, does this mean that he's going to be going out? They're not going to be doing anything with because they haven't done that with Aquaman in any of the HBO Max shows or Wonder Woman. They are bringing it. They do have Deanna Troy, but they haven't done it with Batman and stuff. Well, they have show like in Titans.
How many nutty Batman stuff do they have? They do too many Batman stuff.
Hey, we don't talking about that, okay? We bring extraneous information and stuff out of what we're talking about. But the point of the matter is they put a full-blown Cyborg in the thing, and you're like, wait a second, they already have Cyborg. Why would you put him in? You know, so
we have a thing where we've had in the past, we've had the best example where we have John Amos and Norman Lear being at odds their entire time at during good times, and they didn't initially want John Amos, and they, even though they hired him for Maud, they were like, no, we want a single mother. And then Esther Rolle fought to have the male father in the household, so they did that. They struggled with John Amos. John Amos at the same time, when they said that they weren't bringing him back, he said, okay, fine. But he said he had many arguments with them. And sometimes he said I would have fired me. But at the same time, he worked on getting other gigs. He got, obviously he got Roots. There's a couple other things that were going on for him. He's worked throughout his career. And then he did 2 other pilots, one which got launched with Norman Lear, so it was like, the thing is that you can be at odds with people, but he's not giving us the information to know what to do with it. He's just sort of playing social media. And we've already showed that it shows that you don't have to, you can be at odds with someone and have disagreements, and you can move on and say, okay, they probably had some talk about it, but he said, John Amos has nothing but good things to say about Norman Lear, and still the initial experience about good times. But he says at that point he was, the experience was tough on him. So it happens. I'm not trying to take that away from him, but he's not saying what it is. And at the same time, he wants us to make the decision for him. Us to say, well, obviously he said something, so it must be something there. It's got to be smoke. There's fire. There's got to be fire there, or else he wouldn't have said it.
Smoke, and it's just smoke.
Yeah, well, that's what
it didn't ignite. It started, but we didn't quite get a flame out of this. And John Amos is a good example, because just because it doesn't work out here doesn't mean it won't work out with something else with the same exact person. Okay, I don't know, it's just dumb. You're gonna go after the head of Warner Brothers?
Yeah.
Come on.
Okay, guys, we're gonna call it quits.
Spin it right.
Out. We're out like Ray Fisher.
So, hey, bite your tongue, bro. You don't know what happened, all right? You guys have to.
No, he's out. That's what we know.
They look like that. Doom Patrol. When I saw that, I was like, this was before the whole controversy. Hey, are they gonna keep this guy in here? Like, what's going on? And it just seems to And part of that may be one of the flags that he saw. He's like, hey, they're trying to do something with my character, get rid of me and stuff like that. So, who knows, you know? I mean, it could be that he was brought into the show and into the movies and was told, hey, you're going to be a major part of this. And then Whedon comes in and says, you're not going to be a major part of this. I'm not interested in stuff.
Yeah, but that's what happens. You get a different director, it's a different direction. And that's part of it. I already said that with Anna Paquin. He filmed all these scenes for Days of Future Past with the director she had already worked with and, you know, had a good relationship with. And what happened? He cut all the scenes.
Yeah.
If you come out later and say, well, the last thing I heard, he was messing around with little boys. No, that's like, no. When you film, there's no guarantee that those scenes are gonna end up there.
Wow, that's I didn't realize that.
Well, yeah, anyone can end up on the cutting room floor, and it's not just because they dislike you. I know, and you know, sometimes it's because they dislike you. Sometimes it doesn't work for the story, and that's why a lot of times actors just ask for their dailies. They say, "Can I have my dailies?" And some of them get them, you know, and they put it on their reel.
Oh, so they put it on a reel because you can't do nothing else with it, though. You know.
No, not really. You can just be like this, you know. But most of the time, you have to ask for them. You have to go out there and ask for them, and then you can get them. But you know, I think when I worked on a film, the actors all asked for their scenes, so I just sent them to them. That's what it is. They didn't ask for their daily, so luckily, that would have been a lot.
Been too much, but it's I don't know, man. I just hope everything works out. It's just I feel that the Cyborg character is probably gonna end up getting sidelined in the end run, you know, and that's what he's in. I don't know what they're gonna do.
What we say to that? You know what we all say to that?
What?
You know what we say to that? We say hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Sorry, Ray. It's over. They're probably gonna keep you in that film, but you're not gonna be an integral part. But the mother box is maybe. Who knows?
It's not a cut, so it's possible he could be an integral part of that. So we don't know.
You know what? He gets on with Zack Snyder, so who knows? Zack Snyder may find a role for him doing something.
And
yeah, there you go.
Look, it's coming out in the what?
Like holding the door.
March,
oh God!
if it's a hit, then you know what? There's gonna be a Snyder Cut Part 2. So you need to watch yourself.
Oh, come on. Come on. You know what's gonna happen with the Snyder Cut. The Snyder Cut is gonna be the Snyder Cut is gonna be publicized, but it's really aimed at these people who wanted to see it in the first place. It's a vanity project. Those guys are gonna love it. Come hell or high water, they're gonna love it. The majority of the people are gonna look at it and say, that was interesting. But what about the other film over here and all the other stuff that's going on? And that's pretty much it. No hit.
We said we didn't think the Snyder Cut should come, and we never thought it would get to this level, but it did. And I think that
thanks COVID. Thank you, COVID.
He's putting a lot of time. He's putting a lot of money, and I think they're going to try to make it a success. And if it's a success, I don't think DC is going to walk away from him again.
A success in terms of what? It's being streamed. There are no ratings.
But if people
money.
That's not true. If you get more viewers, you get more money. If you get more people talking about it, you're going to have more.
You can have 10 viewers on one account.
It doesn't matter, bro. I mean, that's how you get different people subscribed. The more subscribers is the money right now. If they can get more subscribers, that's considered a success. Simple as that. You know?
Disagree with you. Not going to argue with you.
Spin a rack.
Ouch.
The woman got an additional 4 million subscribers.
What?
Spin a rack out now.
What did you say?
What did you say?
Saying that Wonder Woman got an additional 4 million subscribers for HBO Max.
We didn't have any problem with Wonder Woman. We're talking about Justice League.
Talking about Justice League.
If Justice League does that, it may be considered a success. So hey.
Okay, let's put that as a success. If they get an additional 4 million subscribers, it's a success.
At $14.95 a pop, paying every month for the whole year.
Hey, I won't argue with that. If because of the Justice League Snyder Cut, HBO Max gets an additional 4 million subscribers at $14.99 plus tax a pop, that's a success. You'll hear no argument from me. I'm glad you committed to these numbers. I'm very glad you committed to these numbers.
Over the course of the year, of course.
Over the what?
It hasn't even been a year for Wonder Woman.
I know, but I'm just saying, if more people right now, they have what, 12 million
Why would
subscribers?
you try to go for the full course of the year then?
Because that's the
Why
whole
would you
point.
take
You
it
want
out?
subscribers, the subscribers coming for the whole full year, not for
Take it
5 minutes.
out.
So you watch the movie and they got somebody else. If
You
that
already
brings,
realize there's nothing new to it besides a couple of scenes. So you back out.
regardless, the point is, if you get more people joining to the
Out.
HBO Max, then it's a success. Okay, and you're gonna see something more. Right now, the DC universe is all based on the Snyder, on Zack Snyder. You know,
So you should get more than that in the first week.
yeah, but they need him to do it for the whole year.
That yeah was really weak. You're like, yes.
Yeah, it's gonna be weak. So just
All right, we did it.
spin a rack.
Out.
Wait, you still have us on. What, spin a rack out? You're supposed to cut it
know.
off, bro.